Good morning. It is Thursday, May 28th, approximately 7:10 Eastern Time. We're talking about Donald J. Trump and the crypto industry. The seminal question of this morning: has Donald J. Trump been good for crypto? We know that crypto's been very, 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 very good for Donald J. Trump. He's made all this money with all these organizations, the meme coins. He's made money. Have you made money? Just ponder a couple of things. Donald J. Trump, during his administration, his first administration, this is Trump 45, he changed the tax code. He changed a provision in the tax code called Section 1031. He added, under his administration, the IRS added a question to the basic Form 1040 asking about crypto ownership. And now he's cashed in on crypto, starting with events that occurred just prior to his inauguration as the 47th president. The question this morning becomes, has Trump been good for crypto? Crypto's been good for Trump. But now we're asking the reverse question. My background, I'm Eric Dixon. I'm a New York headquartered lawyer. Been a lawyer for over 30 years. What does that mean for you? It means I've got a lot of perspective on good people, bad people, and economics. I've seen a lot of trends come and go, the .com, now the blockchain industry. I've been involved with blockchain technology since 2013, and I've actually been the principal author of two of the very first blockchain technology patents ever awarded. I was the principal author writing up stuff in 2014 on two patents, one of which is called the Slidechain. This is essentially a system of deliberate, benign forking of chains to allow for customized chains within a larger network to enable individual chain owners to have sovereignty and to hopefully own their own data, own their own chain, own their own parameters and permissions within. This is what you're starting to hear the terms managed blockchain or modular blockchain. Well, these patents, and I'll give you the numbers in a minute, these patterns set forth how you can do that and customize and then have self-forking chains. So someone can own part of a chain, part of a network, they own a chain, and if they want, they can have all sorts of forks emanating from their own chain that is in turn within a larger network. So it gives a lot of freedom, a lot of autonomy to chain owners. That is the patent. You can look it up. The patent is called 9608829, and the word Slidechain appears there. There's also a blockchain voting patent that emanates from 9608829. The voting patent is 9836908, and really that sets forth. It's not just blockchain voting; it sets forth enterprise blockchains. Meaning you're running a competition or a contest. This sets forth how you could run a sweepstakes. You could run a casino. You could run a race track for horse racing, and have competitions where you've got credentialing for, say, your horses. That's on a discrete chain. You have a chain for each function, so you don't have contamination. It's a security risk otherwise. So it's not just blockchain voting. And we set forth all the different uses in the 9836908 patent. So if you've got nothing better to do, and look this stuff up. These are two of the very first, like 8 or 9 blockchain patents ever awarded. How do I know it was among the first 8 or 9? Do a search for one word, blockchain, among all patents awarded or even applied for. Just do that search. It's a keyword search for one word. And then go to the bottom for the earliest applications, the earliest awarded granted patents. And you will see both of these patents at the very bottom, meaning at the very earliest stage. Applications put forth in 2014, and you'll see them in a list that starts with the most recent at the top. So I'll say when it's at the very bottom, it means they were the very earliest patents. And I defy you to find more than literally half a dozen that were earlier than what we have. That is the background, that is the competence, and that's the perspective of having seen a lot of things come and go. Like you'll see enterprise blockchain development, modular blockchain development now. All these patents were really the first to set forth these concepts. That's my background, and that's different from setting forth a token or some coin. My view is that blockchain it can be an alternative currency. Bitcoin can be money, but I have been saying this for all this time. Blockchain technology's primary value is about data preservation, data integrity. It's about security over convenience. Bitcoin is data integrity. Bitcoin is not money. Bitcoin can be used as a currency, as a means of exchange. It can also be used as a store of value. But what is Bitcoin? It's data. What it is and what it does are two separate things. Okay, going back to our primary question, has Donald J. Trump been good for crypto? Definitely, crypto's been good for Donald Trump. But the trend here is that what's good for Trump is rarely in reverse. Trump 45, during the years 2017 to 2020, and really it was 20 days in 2021, his IRS changed Form 1040 to require every 1040 filer to report whether they owned, held, transferred, sold, or bought crypto. It's one of those first questions at the top of page 1 of Form 1040. That is a question that is unique to one asset class. It's a question that asks on an income reporting form. They're not asking about income. They're asking about what you own. It is a purpose for which arguably the IRS ought not to be involved in, because it's asking about ownership and not income. You can have that question rephrased, but it also, remember, it is specific to one asset class. The Donald J. Trump 45 administration specifically went after crypto with this question. Just ponder that, because that question remains on Form 1040. It is a question that asks about private property ownership that is specific to crypto. It has not been repealed under Trump 47. On the same vein, Section 1031 of the Internal Revenue Code. This is the tax code. Donald J. Trump, 45, changed Section 1031 to eliminate the like-kind exchange treatment that would enable tax-free exchanges of like-kind assets. Before this change, you could use 1031 and sell Bitcoin for Ethereum, as an example. And because they are like-kind assets, it could be a tax-free exchange. You're just transferring the basis to the new asset. So ultimately, you will get taxed when the crypto is sold and converted into hard cash. In essence, you're leaving the crypto ecosystem and going into the fiat ecosystem. That is when you should have a taxable event. That you had tax-free treatment prior to the Trump 45 amendment to Section 1031 that limited 1031 to only personal property. This was an anti-crypto change that almost assuredly was done for the purpose of accelerating taxation on transfers between two types of crypto, where the economic reality of the transaction did not involve any sale of crypto, where the product of that transaction would be realized in fiat. Therefore, you could have taxation without real cash proceeds. When you hear about wealth taxation, where you have taxation without actual realized profits, this is the same way. This is what was happening under Trump 45. It is a deliberately anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin tax treatment. And this was done as part of Donald J. Trump's 2018 tax reform. It is very harmful to the crypto industry. It has gotten almost no attention except by me. And this is something that should be changed. And there's been no excuse. The Trump administration and other Republicans have been told about this issue, this tremendous oversight. I personally brought this to the attention in a face-to-face meeting with Kentucky Senator Rand Paul in 2018. There is no excuse for this oversight to have continued now for almost 8 years. So ask yourself the question. Donald J. Trump has made a lot of money off of crypto, but has he really been good for the crypto community when you look at the hard policies? Now, it is true that under the Biden administration, you had an institutional animus. It's not just Biden. The Obama administration was not friendly towards crypto. We know that there are certain prominent Democrats in Congress who have been very concerned about crypto. They are not wrong to go after the criminal element that seems to infect every growing part of any economy. This is not something that is particular to the United States. But we're not talking about going after criminals and money launderers. We're talking about the risk where regulations end up hurting legitimate computer technology development. And in essence, use a scalpel and not a chainsaw. But that has not been the approach by many Democrats. And they know that there's been overreaching. But needless to say, the animus of the Biden administration, the animus in some states towards crypto, the pendulum may have swung a bit under the Trump administration with 47. But just because there's regulation implies validation of crypto. That doesn't mean it's good for crypto. Doesn't mean it's good for the value of the technology. And perhaps the crypto industry has been chasing validation and sacrificing certain principles such as the sanctity of private property in order to get the approval. Sometimes chasing approval, legal approval is one thing, but chasing the reputational approval can sometimes be the road to serfdom. This bears watching, but I question whether Donald J. Trump has really been good for crypto. We know that he's benefited from crypto. You know he's benefited from crypto, but that is a different question. Has he been good for crypto? And why haven't these changes been made, both to 1031 to return Section 1031 of the tax code back to its pre-2018 language? By the way, they only have to reinsert, actually no words, they just have to take out the word personal. Take that word out from Section 1031. That would return that section to its pre-2018 language. That would reinstate the like-kind asset exchange treatment. That would mean that like-kind asset exchanges would be tax-free. It would mean that crypto exchanges and real property exchanges would both have the same tax treatment. Instead, right now, crypto is taxed when you sell Bitcoin and you get Ethereum and you make that exchange. That is a taxable event under the Trump tax reform. We should reverse that. Just go back to the 2017 language of Section 1031. And it's time to get rid of the ownership question for crypto, specific to crypto, targeting crypto and only crypto on page 1 of Form 1040. These are changes for which there's really no excuse. The Trump administration, both 45 and 47, they knew better then, they know better now. There's no reason these changes can't be made now in 2026. This has been the Capital Shrugged Podcast. I am Eric Dixon, and thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.